Hey guys, how are you? I want to talk about. So, today, I want to talk about.
Trust me, Benji, you have to learn how to stick up for yourself.
So Bertrand Desrochers, I'm the co-director of this film with my friend Darragh Carey here.
And hello, I'm Darragh Carey, and I'm also a co-director on A Brixton Tale.
Hi, I'm Ola Orebiyi, and I play Benji in this film.
This film is really cool. I hearken it back to kind of Sex, Lies, and Videotape. It's very old school indie, but yet you guys give it a freshness because there's a lot of great scenic shots that you guys capture with what would be more of a modern, aesthetic, and it's very interesting. And I'm kind of curious from your perspective, because I know you guys didn't write the movie, right? It was written and you guys grabbed onto it. So this script had to be very interesting and unique to kind of try and interpret and put together.
Yeah, it was a great script. It was written by a good friend of ours in film school. That's how we all met. So his name is Rupert Bainham, and he wrote an amazing script. He's also a producer on the film. And his script it just had huge amounts of energy and real heart. And then when we worked together, we made some changes. So for instance, like Leah was initially a photographer, and then when we came on board with Rupert, we all worked together as a team of three, and we decided to make her a videographer instead, because then we thought we could add some more layers there. And yeah, I mean the character of Benji was like a great character from the get-go, and Leah was a very interesting character as well, very complex. So yeah, it was a great script to get involved in.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny you mentioned, you're the first person who mentions the Sex, Lies, and Videotape. It's definitely one of the reference we had quite early on in the discussions and the writing. But, I think it struck to us, this film, the Sex, Lies, and Videotape you mentioned is, the weight of the camera and how people change in front of a lens, and this theme has become more and more. I mean, it had become really relevant when we were filming because it was also social media, and it becomes even more nowadays with like this happening through Zoom, of course, the way you change and the image, the persona you put on and the person you are and the persona you create and the person you're trying to become. Sometimes you create an image online and then you're trying to match the image that you've created. It's something thematically that really connected to us and really we struck to us as really being contemporary themes. Yeah.
The challenge with making a film like this is that there's a franticness to the idea because somebody's holding a camera and moving around, and there's a lot of movement going on, and she's really observing and following. So, but then there's moments of stillness and quiet. Talk a little bit about your design in that respect, and how was that part of the effort, was to kind of give it this movement, but yet still kind of ground it a little bit.
Yeah, I think when in the process of turning a screenplay into a film, I think a huge job is to try and convey what comes across in those words as looks or as moments. And I think that it continues throughout the process. So even in the edit, we were cutting out dialogue. And this is like dialogue that myself and Bert had added. It wasn't even Rupert's dialogue. It's that we put some more dialogue in, and then was like, nope. Don't need it.
Ola's look and Ola's performance was enough to like, okay, we don't need the added stuff that we tried to put in and force into the script.
Nice.
Like the look speaks 1,000 words. So that happened throughout. So developing it, I think a lot of it, because it was so much about gaze, you know, it's about one person looking at another. That those moments of silence they're just part of the story. I mean, they're going to be there anyway. And then we just added more as time went on because they had so much weight. These are great performances.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of that, Ola, when you got this script, what did you think? What were your initial thoughts about Benji, and how did you get involved with all of this?
Yeah, so when I first got the sides for the audition, I think it was like 6 or 7 months after I graduated from drama school. Yeah, I got the sides, I read the sides, and I was like, I think my first thought was, okay, I could see a lot of myself in this guy, but then there's another part of this guy that is not me, but is people that I know, you know. And what's so amazing about that is I'm the kind of person that I love to work at something. Like I like to do something that's kind of a little bit out of my comfort zone, so that, you know, I can say, yes, that I actually put some real effort into that. So the part of me that was in that character, I was so happy. It was like, yeah, okay, I can really connect to this. And then the part of me that, well, the part of the character that was not me at all, I was like, okay, this is a great opportunity to kind of talk to some of my close friends and close brothers that I will talk to them about their experiences in life, but not tell them I'm trying to use it for an audition. You know, so it was interesting in that aspect as well. And just to do something to do with Brixton. I grew up in like somewhere called Bellingham and Catford, and Brixton is not too far away from there. You know, so to have graduated drama school and come from this bubble of drama school to come out into this world of professional actors, but then to be able to do something that's so close to home, I was like, yes, I don't mind starting just that little bit close to home. If I have to go to America someday, let me just start from home first, you know. So, and then I felt really just gifted, just blessed to have gone through the audition stages and then get a call saying, yeah, so yeah, they want you to play the role. I ran to my mom straight away. I was like, mom, it's happening. I've got a job. You know, so yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing.
The chemistry in this movie just radiates off the screen. I mean, it's so amazing how the dynamic between the three, especially is very palatable. It's always there. And when you look at the performances, what did they add that wasn't a part of the script that you really appreciated?
Well, each of the main cast added something different, you know. So, for instance, Benji had a huge amount of vulnerability and naivety in the script. And then once it came into the film, I think what Ola added was a lot more complexity and much more wisdom. So you could kind of see what was happening as it was happening. So you kind of, like, to a certain extent, Benji wasn't as clueless in the film as he was in the script, because Ola brought that, like, a certain depth and wisdom. Leah was also much more naive in the script. So Leah was kind of just playing this part, and she was just really into street culture. At one point, she was putting on the accent and everything. But instead, what Lily brought was like a quality of like an unknowable quality, you know, so that you know that there's huge amounts going on. She's incredibly intelligent as a person and as an actor. So a huge of that intelligence comes off behind the screen, and I think that you need to show a lot less when you have someone, when you know there's those hidden depths. Then with Craig had this energy. Well, Archie was written this way. Like one of the producers, the co-producers on the film, Sam, found Craig at an audition he went to, and he was like, "I found Archie. He is the character." And then Craig turned up. Craig is way smarter than Archie, by the way. Well, he had so much energy, and what he brought to it was this huge amounts of precision. So he was hugely rehearsed. By the time he got to the audition stage, like he knew all of Archie's lines for the whole script. And in that case, it was just a case of being like, "Oh no, it's okay to ad lib. It's no, we can add in some new lines. We can take some out." So with him, it was more. Archie had much more charisma in the film. So I'd say that's what Craig added, was an extra bit of charisma. And he's a rapper. He wrote his own rap.
Yeah, definitely. They all have different strengths, but I think another thing important in the process from the script to the screen with the actors mainly was we had done a lot of improv session. We had lots of well, we didn't have too much. We had really small budget for this film, so we had to be really careful over where to use the money, how to use it, and like for pre-production and rehearsal time was really limited. So with that, we're trying to figure out, how to make the most out of it. And it's kind of through the process that we discovered it. But it was really interesting. We had some time to do some improv sessions with the actors, and we had already casted like the main actors. And we just decided, like in the office, we could just do a bit of of improv of scenes that would have happened just beforehand. For example, like Benji and Archie hanging out like a year earlier on, or first time Benji kissed a girl, and then they just had improv these scenes. So these moments, these things that we had done some work on the writing parts, like what happened, how was Benji when he was 10 years old, how was Leah when she was 10 years old, like it's all questions, or what's its motivation and stuff. It's all questions you ask yourself when you're writing the project, when you get involved in this project, And then we had all these questions and all these theories about these characters, and then we kind of threw the ball at the actors and be like, hey, Ola, what happened to Benji in West End? And then Ola had kind of improv something, and then like we made the scene, and this became kind of a subconscious memories to all the people involved in the project that we could all refer back to. Like, oh yeah, but remember like a year ago you had a fight with like your mother, so then this energy could come out in the scene. So there was lots of. We didn't have like too much time in the rehearsal, but the rehearsal was not working the scene specifically in how the dialogue was written, more than like finding these characters, finding their backgrounds, and finding their energy to understand really where they were coming from when they arrive at the scene. So then when we were on set, we are kind of all on the same page of what had happened, who they were, and what was this scene going to be about,
Yeah. Speaking of the mother, the cousin, and then the videographer mentor, fantastic performances as well. And they layer this thing very well. And it's very, you could especially the mother character, her patriarchy just really stings and brings this thing to life. It's really amazing. So, I mean, a lot of these shots, Ola, this thing is moving along really fast, right? It's a very high paced, and for somebody who was just coming out of being in school and getting probably a more refined essence about acting and that jumping into something like this, was it freeing for you as an actor? Was it a little bit more of a challenge because you had just come from this kind of more staunch, academy kind of idea?
Yeah. When I was in drama school, first year, actually, I was pretty much kind of trying to be like the perfect drama school kid in my first year of drama school, trying to get everyone to be like, yeah, you're going to go here and you're going to do this. And I think when second year kind of came around, I just went, okay, I don't know. I think maybe it was like an epiphany or something. Something just clicked to make me think everything you're going to learn in drama school. I actually give credit to one of my teachers as well. And she was always telling us, be like a sponge and take in as much information as you can, and then release the ones that you don't need when you get out of here. But something else clicked to me to go, okay, well, these characters that you're seeing on screen, most of them are based on real people. Even characters that you've seen that are not based on real people, let's say like Superman, for instance, like even Superman has to gain some humanity from somewhere. So whilst you're learning the technique and camera work and where to stand and how to get to your mark without looking down and finding your mark and stuff like that, you also have to be a real person. So when I came out and during the filming of A Brixton Tale, it was bringing the amalgamation of real life as well as drama school studies into this role, and just having fun because you studied for 3 years and you're finally actually that, like, it didn't. I know people say this, but it didn't feel like work.
Yeah.
This did not feel like work. It felt like I was going home every evening, and then I was just going out to hang out with people. And then occasionally there will be a camera there. Well, 2 cameras at some point, you know. It's just like, okay, yeah, people are just filming what we have to do. Yeah, it was just fun. It was just fun. And I think that's really important. People made it fun. People I'd never met before. It was crazy to think. Sometimes I would think, oh, like 2 months ago, I didn't know you. I didn't even know you existed. And now we're genuinely telling each other jokes that can be funny sometimes and may not be funny sometimes. You know, it was amazing, man. It was just amazing.
Nice. And yeah, I mean, like I said, it's palatable. I mean, you can see it. It just screams off the screen with the chemistry and the connections and everything like that. You know, another thing interesting about this film that I really appreciated was color choices. I mean, there's a scene where Leah's on the balcony and you just see this green all around her, and then of course the beach scenes are just gorgeous. So talk a little bit about was that something you guys developed on set in camera? Were you looking for things like that, or did you kind of in post kind of manipulate that and kind of give it what you were looking for? And how did that play emotionally with what you were trying to tell within the subtext?
Yeah, so I mean, we discussed it. We had a plan to begin with about color very specifically. So we wanted to have the night times very saturated. And myself and Bert spoke about this for a long time. Is like, how do we tell the color story of this film? And we wanted the night times to be very saturated, and we really wanted, like in Brixton, you have all these sodium vapor street lights, so the orange lights. And we were like, okay, well, that's it. That's like a blazing. It's like you're in the blazing sun of these orange street lights when you go out at night. And then there's the fluorescence you get in the cityscape. You know, like you have all those greeny fluorescence. You see Damien Chazelle use that kind of stuff a lot with the greeny fluorescence. Yeah. Him and David Fincher use a lot of that kind of amber glow that gives an emotion to a scene. And sometimes in his case, a lot of it is like for unease, but in our case it was for energy and for warmth between the characters. And that's something that Brixton does. Brixton comes alive at night. There's an incredible atmosphere in Brixton at night, which we weren't shooting in the crowds of like down Electric Avenue where all the people are, because we're shooting a movie and that's not possible. But we thought that we could get that through this kind of color story. But then when we started shooting, like there's a lot of things that were just really well selected in terms of like the blocking when we started working with Christoph Brandl, the cinematographer. So like that shot surrounded by the green and where Leah comes out for her smoke and stuff like that, that's all him. Mm-hmm. There's other shots like he decided with us that he wanted to use like Coke anamorphics, like vintage anamorphics. So then they really come alive in those landscapes that you get in something like down by the Thames in London, Mm-hmm. And then also it means that you can see a lot behind faces when you're in a mid, so you can get the environment, you can get a bit of the city or the room in there. Mm-hmm. So so I mean, color wise, we just didn't want to shoot something that looked like very gray social realism, kind of like kitchen sink stuff, because it wasn't written like that. So if you sell it like that, people are like, that this isn't social realism, this is something else. So
yeah, and also I mean everything that Darragh said, and also with production designer Shalini Adnani, we had also discussed about the colors we wanted and like the looks we wanted. Had lots of references, of course, and she's done a really good job. And as I mentioned earlier on, it was a small budget, so she managed to pull off some really nice tricks with really, really little. Everybody put lots of their hearts in this project, and we're all really grateful to everybody who's devoted their time to this project and tried to bring it to life.
I would have to imagine too, because you want to get some of this graininess in there and put that in the idea. Ola didn't see that. I was showing the guys earlier. This is the camera I used to do interviews with. I was very excited when I saw it on the screen. But I would imagine you wanted to get some of that graininess in there too. So was it more of a challenge with the colors in that respect because of trying to put that kind of footage inside of a film inside of a film kind of idea?
Absolutely, yeah, it was, because I mean the looks of these cameras is not the looks that we have actually on screen. Like anyone who has a bit of experience with cameras and with these handycams know that the look we have on screen is really not authentic, so to speak. But we had to make something contrast, because sometimes it was so good and it was like 4K, it was nice and clean, but it has more like an iPhone vibe, I guess. So whenever we mix like the film lens the stuff with the handycam, the contrast was not strong enough that you can differentiate what was from one and the other. So what we had done when we were filming is some stuff we see in the opening scene of the movie is with the anamorphic camera, we filmed the handycam screen in a really macro way, so really close focus, and you could see all the pixels on this small screen, because the screen of it is not like the amazing screen as like a laptop screen. So you could all see the pixels, and the look of it we really liked, and we're like, well, let's try to reproduce that. So that was a challenge actually we faced in the color grading you mentioned. That's something with the color grade is small Western, we had to work to reproduce something that we had managed to create kind of by mistake on set while filming, like really pixelated the screen from the handycam.
Mm-hmm. Ola, what are you going to take away from this experience that you're going to apply to future experiences? I'm sure you've already shot some stuff beyond after this, but what do you feel like this experience has given you that you're always going to have as an actor that's going to help you down the road?
It was my first like lead in a film, right?
Yeah.
And before that, I think I always just kind of looked at people that had the lead role in the film, and all I could think was from the work aspect, right? You just think that this person has so much on their shoulders, which is true. I mean, like, you have to do a lot. But one thing I discovered actually being on set was that it's not just you. Like, there's a whole team of people that are working so hard to also make, so to some extent it kind of makes your job easier to some extent. And it was, then I realized that it's also important to just have fun. I keep saying that, but it was so true, because when you're able to smile a lot more, even in the scenes, like there was a scene between myself and Archie, Benji and Archie, myself and Craig, close to the end, which was really sort of intense. I think Darragh said something like, you could hear a penny drop when everything kind of stopped when they yelled cut. Even with that scene, before and after and kind of around that scene, we were just kind of having fun, and it made that scene a lot more emotional, because it was like, this is really a friend, right? And seeing a friend in this situation, it breaks your heart. And it wasn't that you were you spent the last hour kind of getting into a role like, okay, I have to be broken heart, I have to be broke. But like, this is a friend. And then you see this friend like this, and you're like, this heartbreak is genuinely real, because I don't want to see my friend like this, you know? And I guess I already appreciate filmmakers anyway, but just to have these two guys here, like Darragh and Bert, and the other actors in there, it's just so beautiful to see a bunch of people work on something and then see that thing produced and just go, oh, this is well done.
What I love most about independent film is that there's no formula. You know, you have a formula that makes money, and big commercial film always follows to some degree that formula. So you can start seeing the patterns. You can start predicting what's going to happen. What I love about independent film, like even filmmakers who've been really successful, but they still have that independent film ethos, is that you never know what's going to happen next, which is like the essence of a good story, right? So if you can't tell what's going to happen at the end, but at the beginning of a story, then that's a good start. And I think that all independent films have a sense of that defiance of formula, no matter what the genre.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, what Darragh says, yeah, I mean, the boldness of indie movies, the more money you have, the more like worrying, I guess, you have to be with like the audience to try to reach out. But the independent movies, when you have the chance to try something and even, make mistakes or just turn mistakes into like strengths, I think that's the beauty of independent movies, trying something completely different. And I think there's a dialogue between independent and mainstream movies, because mainstream movies rip off the good stuff in the indie movies. Indie movies, it's a kind of laboratory where you can try stuff out, and then like mainstream might like take the best out of it. You know, some of it for sure.
In this, because like a couple of independent films, like A Brixton Tale and Limbo, with both of them, it was just really amazing because there are some random moments. I don't know how I can really explain that very well, but there were some really random moments where something would happen just out of nowhere. Maybe God just helps us out with a scene in the film, and you just go, wow, that's perfect. That's just perfect for the scene. Let's just do that. And it felt to some extent that I suppose the directors here were really open to that. I mean, I've not worked on like massive budget films. I know, like with Cherry, I was just there a little bit, you know. But to be so close, and I felt like I don't know where I'm gonna go at the end of my career, or you know where else this career would lead me. But I felt like I was able to learn from these guys. There were loads of things I didn't know until I got on set here and on set with Limbo, and just watching these guys work, you kind of see so much passion. And it's probably like that with every director, but this is what I've experienced. And I was just like, there is so much passion in what they're doing and how much they believe in this project that I have to put my all into this project. And for them to have that much passion and believe in me to play this role, man, something must be going right.